I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of September 9th, 2015. Last week was the week of Star Wars. Everywhere except comic shops. This week at comic shops, it is the week of Star Wars. But we'll get to that in just a minute. I'm jumping ahead. I don't know where I am. It was a late night. It's an early morning. My pick of the week this week is a new comic from Image called Faster Than Light, the spectacular first issue. Actually, it's just called Faster Than Light. This is written and drawn by Brian Haberlin. I don't know if it's a long A or a short A. Much like my own last name, it probably gets butchered a lot. I don't have a long A or a short A in my last name, but it's an O, long O or short O. Hello. Oh, you're still here. Thank you. Faster Than Light. Josh and I got a preview of this about 3 weeks ago, and both really enjoyed it. And it is a science fiction story that has elements of Letter 44 and lots of elements of the original Star Trek series, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoyed it. But if you're not a Star Trek fan, don't let that deter you from picking up this excellent first issue. Basically, there is a threat out there in the galaxy, and they're putting together the first Faster Than Light ship with a crew that doesn't always get along, and there's intrigue and espionage, and everything may not be as it seems. And I just really enjoyed it. One of the other cool things about this, and granted I did not try it out, but I've seen this on other Haberlin books, is there's an ultimate augmented reality app that's available that you can download onto your device. And there are certain components of the book that you can hold your device up to. Kind of like Marvel's AR app, but better. Now, you've seen his previous works.
The Anomaly one?
The Anomaly, which was this big honkin' hardcover that actually had voiceover work from Will Wheaton and some other stuff. So I didn't try that out, but it does have some kind of extra cool bonus technology features for the cover price of $2.99.
Awesome.
Anything to add?
It was great. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should try it out.
Good, solid sci-fi, good interpersonal dynamics.
Kind of a light week on the Marvel side if you're a Marvel fan, so maybe jump across the aisle and pick up Faster Than Light.
Next up from Marvel.
I didn't say nothing came out from Marvel.
This is Miss Marvel 18. This is part of the Last Days. Written by G. Willow Wilson. Art by Adrian Alfona. I've loved Miss Marvel since issue 1. This is the second part of a two-part story. Well, actually, it looks like it'll be kind of a 2.5, 3-part story. With Carol Danvers teaming up with Kamala so that they can try and save Jersey City before the end of the world. And it's kind of cool because you have the age dynamic. Kamala's definitely a huge fangirl for Carol Danvers, and Carol's kind of aware that the world is probably going to end and none of this is going to matter. So seeing them working together like that is really great. And the family dynamic in here is strong. It's always been really good, actually, in Miss Marvel. A lot of it has been about, Peter Parker is worried about the world hating him and all of the bad things that happen, but Kamala Khan's really just concerned about the fact that her family would flip out if they knew she was a superhero. So really poignant, really, really solid. Still one of the best books Marvel puts out monthly.
Well done. I agree. Another Marvel book here, Civil War, Whose Side Are You On? Issue number 4. This is the second to the last issue of this miniseries that takes place during Secret Wars. And not a whole lot new to say, except that there are some revelations that kind of tip this story on its head. So you don't want to miss it. If you've been reading it, I don't know why you would skip it. If you haven't been reading it, seek out the first 3 issues and then pick up issue number 4 as well, because Civil War is tops. And I think someone actually posted a question or a comment. I don't know if it was on the last episode, several episodes ago, to have us rank our favorite Secret Wars miniseries. So we may get to that once the dust has settled. But if you watch the episode, you can kind of tell which ones we're really excited about. And Civil War, as I said, is at the top of that list.
Next up from me, from IDW, we've got Atomic Robo, Ring of Fire, written by Brian Clevenger, with art by Scott Wagner. Wagener?
I don't know.
I'm going to say Wagner.
Wagner.
Atomic Robo is one of my favorite indie comics. And previously, it had always been published by Red 5. And then about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they went to a different business model and moved their publishing operation over. So this is the first series from IDW. You can pick this up and read this without having read anything previously. Essentially, Atomic Robo is a robot created by Nikolai Tesla, and he goes off and gets in adventures. And one of the things I really like about Atomic Robo is the adventures can take place at any point in time. I think only 3 of the miniseries they've done have been set in the present. All the rest have been, during World War II or later than that, different periods within the last century for the most part, because he was invented by Tesla, so kind of has to be. But it's really cool, fun, action-adventure-y, kind of Indiana Jones or Hellboy-esque, but with a strong sci-fi element, and really, really great humor. This book picks up with, at the end of the last series, Atomic Robo has apparently exploded, be dead, something happened, he's gone. And Atomic Robo be dead. That should just be the title of the volume. And this is his team of action scientists going to both how they're dealing with the world and maybe trying to find a way to bring him back. And it was just very cool, lots of fun, very funny. Everything I love in Atomic Robo is now available monthly. Pick it up.
And it's got a cool X-Men
Days
of Future Past homage cover. All right, I mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, but Star Wars Shattered Empire #1 is out this week. This is under the banner of Journey to Star Wars: The Force Awakens, written by one of our favorite writers, Greg Rucka, with artwork by one of my favorite artists, Marco Cicchetto, who was the penciler on Rucka's Punisher series when it was over at Marvel. Not like Punisher's been anywhere else, but... So Shattered Empire picks up towards the end of Return of the Jedi. We actually get to see some of the final scenes, the final battle, lightsaber battle between Luke and Darth Vader. We get some cool kind of not insight, but I don't know how do I say this. We see some cool stuff. For example, when Luke is escaping the exploding Death Star at the end of Return of the Jedi, he's flying the Imperial shuttle out, and he's by himself, so he doesn't talk or anything, but as he's flying out, some of the rebel fighters go to attack it, and then they're called off, and then there's a conversation between Luke and that rebel pilot, and it's kind of cool. For Star Wars geeks like us, this is a must-read. So much of the issue revolves around several of the rebel pilots, the celebration on Endor. We find out that there's actually an Imperial encampment on the other side of Endor that's kind of dug in, and they either don't know that I don't know how they can't know the Death Star has been destroyed, but they think that there's still hope, and so this sets up a battle between the rebels and the Imperial encampment, and we're kind of left on a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end of the issue. Cicchetto's artwork is outstanding. I loved when he was drawing Punisher and Daredevil and all of the character, basically the Avengers that were in Greg Rucka's Punisher run. Greg Rucka is a master storyteller, so much like the writers that are doing all of the other Star Wars books at Marvel, Marvel has pulled out all the stops and really, gotten some really fantastic writers on board to tell these continuing Star Wars stories. So Shattered Empire is a must-read. This isn't one you skip. This is a must-read, and it is out today, only in comic shops.
And I would say it's not just what happens after Endor. It's clearly setting up. There are characters in this story whose names will sound familiar if you went to buy figures last Force Friday. So,
yeah, I didn't really pay attention to that, but
there's at least one that's definitely at least related to or is a character.
One of the other characters. You know what? I'm gonna have to reread it now. Speaking of Greg Rucka, though, I can't let this slide by, and Josh will get an image up here. But Greg Rucka also has a Star Wars Journey to the Force Awakens novel that's available now too. It's called Smuggler's Run: A Han Solo and Chewbacca Adventures. So, if you can't get enough of Greg Rucka and Star Wars, you should definitely pick this up. We do have it in stock, obviously. Here we have all of the Star Wars novels that were released last Friday available at the shop. So you can buy them from us if you'd like. Please.
And my next pick this week is Darth Vader #9 by Kieran Gillen with art by Salvador Larroca. Salvador?
Yep.
Yeah, Salvador Larroca. And this continues the tale of Darth Vader, and I'm really digging what Gillen's doing with this. Darth Vader really works best when he's a force of nature. He's this boogeyman. He can lift people up with one hand and choke people with the Force, and he doesn't talk a lot. And that black mask, he has eyes that don't blink and a mouth that never moves, and it's just horrifying. And a lot of times especially in like the expanded universe stuff, when you're doing a book about Vader, it's a lot from his point of view. You get inside his head, and that sort of diminishes the terror of how big and terrifying a bad guy he is, or a conflicted hero, depending on how you want to interpret it. And Gillen has very intelligently given him people to play off of. Some people from the original series or the original trilogy, and as well as new characters. And putting him with different pieces bring out different parts of his personality. You see different things about Vader, and it's just really, really well written. It's amazing to me that 30 years later, somebody can write a Darth Vader story where we learn new things about a character without ever actually revealing. I mean, there's very little new information, but the way the character is portrayed, the way he interacts with people, we learn about Vader, and it's great.
Yeah, and I've experienced this reading all of the Marvel Star Wars stuff. I was never a huge Dark Horse Star Wars fan. I read some of the stuff, but the Marvel stuff feels better. It feels more familiar. It feels like it's an extension of the films, whereas the Dark Horse stuff, to me, felt like they were working a little too hard to do some things. And I know that there are exceptions to that.
There are exceptions. I mean, there were points where Dark Horse and a few of the novels were really all the Star Wars there was.
Sure. But the Marvel stuff to me just feels like it's a perfect extension of the films. All right, finally, I can't talk all about Star Wars when there's a new Star Trek book out. The Autobiography of James T. Kirk, the story of Starfleet's greatest captain, is available in hardcover. And this is, they're really pimping this as the autobiography of James T. Kirk, written by the actual James T. Kirk. There is a foreword in here by Dr. Leonard H. McCoy. There is an afterword by Spock of Vulcan, and this is all written from Kirk's perspective, the first person. It says edited by David A. Goodman. It's actually, written by David A. Goodman as James T. Kirk. But I've read the first chapter or so. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's a must-have again for Star Trek fans. So I'm a Star Trek and a Star Wars fan. I don't know why so many people get hung up on one or the other. So it's like Christmas here because there's all this Star Wars stuff to read and a new Star Trek book to read. Greatest captain in Starfleet. Yes, I said it. The greatest captain Starfleet has ever known. Or according to Dr. McCoy's foreword, the greatest hero who ever lived.
Didn't McCoy kill his dad one time?
He did. That's one of the best scenes in Star Trek V, by the way.
Not that there's a lot to compete with it in Star Trek
No, but yes. He did it because he had to. He had no choice. And then they found a cure, damn it! They found a cure! Okay, what do you got this week?
Also out this week, Saga Volume 5. This is the most recent arc. And
come get it.
There's nothing new we can say about Saga we haven't already said. It's great.
More of a public service announcement for those of you that are reading
Seriously,
Saga.
it's a wonderful time to be alive. Look at what's on this table.
That you are if you're reading Saga in trade format, come and get Volume 5. It's available now.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What else is there to say? Did you have a question for
I don't.
the view? Damn it, Josh. Come up with a question.
Okay.
We'll wait. Okay, we won't wait. I don't have a question this week. I've had a lot going on and can't think of a question. So thank you for watching. Admittedly, not our finest hour perhaps here, but if you did like the episode, please give us a thumbs up on the YouTube and leave us a comment about anything, Star Wars, Star Trek, your favorite Starfleet captain, anything like that. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you soon.